Hi, Cindy. Are you there? Hi, Cindy. Are you there? Hi, Jessica.
Hey, Dirk.
Good afternoon, everyone. We'll get started in about 2 minutes. Good afternoon. It's 1 o'clock, and it's time for the Calhoun County Joint Information Center briefing for Wednesday, December 23rd, 2020. Next slide, please. Administrative notes. Next slide. Our unified command team. The lines of effort and priorities, Joint Operations Center. The purpose of the Joint Information Center, or JIC. And our agenda for today, we will start off, as we always do, with Eric Pessel from the Health Department. Eric?
Thank you, Derek. I just want to get started by overall saying that in the past, I think it's been the last 18 days, we have seen a trend downward in our case numbers overall. And this graph really demonstrates that very well. As you can see on the right side of the screen, the graph, it goes up fairly quickly there. Late September to early October. It peaks sometime about mid-November and then starts to come down. As you can see, it's been updated all the way through about December 20th. And we are seeing, that's some good news. We're starting to see a little bit of relief in our daily case counts as they trend downward. In fact, I believe our percent positive now is below 10. It's down to about 8.7. Last 7-day average, which is all good news. We still want to drive that down below 3. So we'll continue to monitor this, and hopefully it will continue to fall. Also, our death count is continuing to rise. We're up to 166 people now who have died from complications of COVID. And that over the last week or two has continued to increase. And hopefully that will start to follow the trend of our cases and start to decline as well. Next slide. Wanted to put this slide up there just as an update. Again, this is tracking just our school-aged kids all the way down to, obviously all the way down to our age 0 to 1. But you can see where a majority of our kids, what age group is is positive. And you can also see about what time of year we started to really see an increase in that positive. So certainly about that first week, last week of September, first week of October, we started to see an increase. It looks like it peaked again sometime in November. That curve is not as bell-shaped as others, but you also can see it is starting to decrease. And that could be for various reasons. One, we've had quite a few schools go back to virtual. We certainly had the order that's 9th through 12th grade is virtual. And we also had a pause in our sports. Exactly what caused that decline yet, we have not been able to determine. Next slide. A little bit of great news or good news now is our vaccine update. We received our first shipment of vaccine last Friday. We were able to vaccinate those of us that will be out running vaccination clinics. We were able to vaccinate our EMS, many of our EMS, many of our fire department, emergency responders, medical responders, EMTs. Those types of folks have been vaccinated. Those who wanted to be vaccinated, we ran clinics Friday and Saturday. We ran clinics again this week on Monday and Tuesday. So far it has gone very well. There's been very few side effects of anybody that we vaccinated, just a little bit of arm soreness. So it's gone very well. So for everybody's knowledge out there, the vaccinations, as we roll them out across the country, the state of Michigan, and then locally here in the county, we're going to follow a phased approach. And phased 1A is a fairly large group of people. And that phase is then broken down into 3 priority areas. I don't list the priority areas here. We give some examples of the entire group of the phase 1A. It includes public health, home health care, cancer treatment centers, EMS, fire, medical first responders, outpatient centers not affiliated with a hospital, pharmacies, dentists, funeral homes, congregate care facility staff that are not covered by the federal program, and law enforcement MFRs. So that's going to be what we're focusing on over the next couple of weeks. And it's not on the slide, but I just want to give a quick note that if you have not heard from us and you believe you're in phase 1A, be patient. We will be reaching out to you individually for these groups. And you should hear something from us shortly. Certainly no longer than the first week of January. A little bit about our process, how you will hear from us. We'll probably be emailing or calling, doing a survey to find out just how many staff in each one of those organizations is willing to get vaccinated. And then we'll be setting up a clinic date at that time. Just so everybody's aware, the hospitals are vaccinating. They have their own vaccine, and they're vaccinating their own staff that are in Group 1A. And then the federal program that I mentioned above is the CVS Walgreens. They are providing vaccinations to all of our nursing homes in Calhoun County, and almost all of our assisted living, skilled nursing, home for the aged, adult foster cares will be covered and provided by CVS and Walgreens. And Dirk, I think that is it for me.
Okay, thank you very much, Eric, for your report. Very appreciated. Up next is going to be a report on MDHS gatherings and face mask order by Calhoun County Administrator Kelly Scott. Kelly, go ahead.
Thank you, Dirk. As we indicate on the slide that shows what one of the main purposes is for the Joint Information Center is to keep you all updated on current and relevant information, including regulations that relate to the COVID-19 response effort. So the latest one on December 15, there was a revised public health order announced that did loosen some restrictions on public activity, while it also extended the state's COVID-19 response through January 15. So the new orders replaced the ones that were instituted on December 7. And before that, a lot of these bans have been in place since November 18, which at that point was considered a pause. Indoor dining is probably the largest sector that will be banned at least through January 15. Just in case you're wondering, at our Joint Operations Center, we often ask each other if anybody has any predictions or heads up. We've been doing this since March, and it has been very difficult to predict what orders might be coming next. Sometimes Eric will get a heads up maybe 24 hours, maybe just a few hours ahead of orders. This one was a little bit more predictable, just given, you know, the governor's press conferences, input from Eric and his discussions with the state, just indicating that the science, while not directly able to show statistical tables linking indoor dining and restaurants to the case rates for COVID-19, the science that we're talking about here is really focused on just the simple fact that the virus is passed on to other people through droplets, through breathing, and through liquids that come out of your mouth. And so the focus here is, if you can remain masked, indoor activities are gradually and deliberately being reopened. The beginning of the DHHS order on December 18 talks about cautious reopening and maintaining the momentum that you heard Eric talk about, with the trends going in the right direction. So the goal with this one is to open lower risk venues first and gradually, rather than all at once. And so to that end, the focus really is to reduce indoor gatherings, seen as the prime source of transmission of the virus. So everything from schools to casinos can now offer in-person services under these revisions, but indoor dining, nightclubs, indoor sports, those that are considered higher risk entertainment and recreational activities are still banned. I'm not going to get into all the specifics. I do think the state is getting better at creating these infographics like you can see on this slide. But mainly the changes, if you compare on December 18, they're putting entertainment and recreational. And so with the higher risk, there still remains, some of these don't apply too much in Michigan right now, and the lower risk recreation facilities, such as casinos, movie theaters, and bowling alleys, are allowed to open, but with some restrictions, mainly on those things like concessions, food and drink, that would require you to remove masks. There are also, the gathering limits are still pretty much in place, even with the new venues that are opening, just like they were for the past month or so. You know, in general, indoor gathering is pretty prohibited, small groups within the same households. I'm not going to talk too much about outdoor gatherings because it's cold. And then there are capacity limits. Since one of our main focuses for this group is the impact on local government, that are able to complete their jobs remotely are still required to do that in accordance with this order. And then the MIOSHA emergency rules. Local government offices are still permitted to be open to the public. We are not required to close. Having said that, all of our public meetings right now, because of the gathering prohibition, all public in-person meetings are prohibited unless we're outdoors in less than 25 people. So continue to meet remotely. And I'll just note that obviously the biggest impact that we hear related associations, restaurants apparently have been closed a little bit less than 50% since March 16. And the governor did say in issuing this extension that there could be fewer restrictions if these trends continue. So I don't know that we're planning to hear from her until after the holidays. But if you go to the next slide, there are specific metrics that the state is indicating that they'll be watching. The COVID-19 cases per million residents. And so from December 4, they decreased from about 605 per million residents. This is statewide on a 7-day trend to now we're down to 163 per million residents over 7 days. So that trend definitely looks like it's in the right direction. The percent of positive COVID-19 tests, again, statewide, we went from 14% a couple of weeks ago down to a little under 10% based on the latest data on a 14-day average. And then the percent of adult inpatient beds occupied by COVID-19 patients also is trending down, although the state doesn't provide real easy to get data on that. So I think we continue to watch the metrics, hope that we get through the holidays and that the trends continue, and that on January 15, we hopefully can keep us all safe and also keep our economy from failing. And then we're also noting that the federal and state stimulus package do include some relief for restaurants and other small businesses. Don't know if it's enough, but something is better than nothing. With that, everyone have a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and a safe New Year. I'm looking forward to a new year.
Thank you, Kelly, very much for your report. We're going to move on to holiday guidance. Battle Creek City Manager Rebecca Fleury. Rebecca?
Thank you, Dirk. I appreciate that. This is usually an incredibly exciting time to join and gather together. But as we are still under a tremendous amount of guidance from the CDC and MDHS, as well as our public health department, we are making sure that we're messaging some winter holiday guidance. Listening to Eric, it is exciting that our numbers have come down, especially our infection rate from double digits to single digits. But as he said, our numbers are good and trending in the right direction, but we really should be around the 3% infection rate or below. And so we still have to be diligent and vigilant about protecting ourselves. So the best way to do that is to continue to do what we've been saying since the very beginning, is wash your hands, wear a mask, and socially distance. I know this is hard, but this really is the best way to protect yourself, your family, and your friends. Really, you should be sticking to your, the people within your home and not introducing other households into your home or going into other households, because that is the way this spreads. You don't know where friends and family may be. And you don't know what some of them may be practicing as far as safe practices. So please do your best to be safe when you celebrate this holiday season. There are some great video guides out there through CDC and MDHS. I believe you can check both the city's YouTube channel and the county's YouTube channel for some winter holiday guidance. There's some great messages out there from our PIOs. They're constantly finding creative ways to share the guidance that we need to have while we still have infection rates that, are at these numbers. Next slide, please. Kelly mentioned this, we do have changes in how we are providing local government services right now. Many of our buildings remain closed to the public even through January. That is definitely true for the City of Battle Creek buildings. I know that the county buildings are open, but most of their departments are taking appointments only. So everybody's doing, what they can to really limit that face-to-face contact. And if you must have it, again, with a mask and social distance. But we encourage, call your municipality with questions, because each one of us is a little bit different, so that you can get the latest information on service delivery. You can call and or check their website. That's our advice. We are really pleased that the state legislation approved amendments to the Open Meetings Act, which will allow us to continue our public meetings virtually. That was passed through March 31st, 2021. So again, please watch the websites and messaging from your local municipality to determine how public meetings are held. For the city of Battle Creek, and I believe also for the county, we will remain virtual meetings at least through January, but continue to watch that as we advance. But as I said, with the amendment to the Open Meetings Act, that you could expect probably virtual public meetings through March 31st. To let some of our JOC, JIC, EOC staff have a little bit of a break, as well as our PIOs. There will be no COVID-19 data updates on the county website on Christmas Eve and day, New Year's Eve and day. Please also know that many of our facilities are closed just for the holidays. It's a little different messaging because right now all our buildings are closed, but business is in session. But for the city, for example, and I believe for the county and others, we will be closed Thursday and Friday of this week for the Christmas holiday, and then watch for the January closings as well. That's what I have, Dirk. Thank you so much.
Okay,
Merry Christmas to
Rebecca.
everybody.
Thank you so much, Rebecca, for your report. We appreciate it. Moving on to business update and Kara Beer. Kara, are you there?
I am. Thank you. Thanks for having me today. Just a little update in regards to some really awesome things that have happened here in the community. The Battle Creek Chamber received word on December 4th at 5 p.m. that we were awarded $15,000 match grant from Consumers Energy on a new program that they developed called Our Town Match. We were one of 55 communities that received some portion of money that was with that. So over the weekend and into that Monday, we had to jump really fast to try and get as much certificates as possible, knowing that we were going to do $25 increments, and that would be matched dollar for dollar as long as that money was while supplies lasted. And so we had that. We sold out of the $15,000 match. That's $30,000 out in the community in a day and a half. So that was just an amazing thing. This is a member benefit. So the businesses that are participating are members of the Chamber of Commerce. And so that's any of our chamber members are eligible to accept those certificates. That was one of the things that we wanted to do. But we asked each one of them if they wanted to be promoted. And so you have a list of, I believe it's close to 30 places that you're able to spend those dollars. One of the other things, each community is very different on that in regards to the expiration date. Some people didn't put an expiration date on those certificates. We chose to do March 31st because we wanted people spending those dollars in our community in the first quarter, which will be very, very important to make sure that that is going to happen. Once consumers receive the news, which was pretty instantaneously, as the Consumers Energy Foundation I'm friends with on Facebook, the executive director, we received a phone call the next day. We were awarded another $10,000 to do a match program on Wednesday. We regrouped. We had to order materials very quickly because we were all out of 2,000. We had 2,000 certificates with the 15,000. And so we quickly had to reorder and get supplies ready. We did pre-sales on Thursday for half of that. It was sold out in less than 3 hours with that. And then we had the additional funds to be in person only on Monday, December 21st. Because we wanted people to have the opportunity that might not have credit cards, same with the time before, to be able to purchase these gift certificates. We then, and Monday, December 21st, sold out of the final $10,000. So thanks to the Our Town Match program, we were able to distribute $50,000 in certificates to be used at participating member businesses by March 31st. Some of the really cool stories that I got out of this is because of that dollar for dollar match, folks were coming in and stating that they really wanted to help small businesses and they were spending that money pretty quickly in those places. We have a very fast turnaround. On Thursday, December 17th, I think it was, we received our first redeemed coupons for over $1,000 for Mike's Team Active. And so he was able to get that. Somebody had walked over with their $500 worth of certificates for $250 and purchased a brand new bike, shocks, all kinds of stuff, and was able to do that. Another person used $250 to go over and purchase a larger purchase. So, I mean, like, just amazing stuff like that. We also had folks that had extras because of the dollar for dollar match, that they took those extras and went to B2 outlets, purchased hats, gloves, warm things, as well as power charge cords, things like that, and donated it to Buddy Holly's warmth project that he is doing for the homeless right now. And so a really good feel-good moment of being able to do that and being able to supply that through one of these members. And so it just is a really cool event, and we were really proud of being able to do it. Our board was very excited to be able to offer all of this for our community, and it has enticed us to look for second quarter of next year and third quarter to continue this program. Might not be consumers, it might not be that much money, but looking at different opportunities to doing matching programs with our chamber members, depending upon how well it is received in regards to how these are redeemed. We want people to get out there and use those certificates. And so we don't want them hanging on to them. And so we'll know more come closing of March 31st on how much of those dollars are out there still. So really appreciate the opportunity to talk about what a great program this Our Town Match program was. We were one of the only community, well, we were one of the smaller communities that received $25,000 from Consumers Energy Match program. So we're really excited about that. Other communities around us received only like $4,000. So we were excited about that. And this was a program specific to chambers and downtown development authorities. I'm done now, Dirk, sorry.
Okay. Thank you so much for that great report. We appreciate it. We're going to move on to the last item on our agenda. This is going to be comments from elected officials or their representatives. We'd like to start off with Senator Bison. Senator?
Hi, thank you so much for the opportunity. I was trying to unmute over here, and that just isn't going very well. So I may have to do this in the dark. Oh, there you are. You know, we passed something like 150 different bills in the last week or so. And so lame duck was anything but lame this year again. I have to admit that we passed a lot of different issues, but probably one of the most significant of them was the supplemental, which was nearly $500 million, nearly all of it in general fund. The largest portion of that appropriation is for $200 million to cover the temporary extension of unemployment benefits from 20 weeks to 26 weeks from January through April of the coming year. We have another $55 million for small business grants that I think are needed. I'm not sure that that's going to be sufficient to keep many of our businesses from closing, though. The direct care workers are going to see a continuation in their $2 pay increase for an additional 2 months through January and February. And the care and recovery centers are going to see an additional $200 per day for their care of patients needing recovery from various activities, various addictions. Also included in the supplemental is $15 million for coronavirus testing and vaccination efforts, $18 million for hospitals to include $3,000 per treatment to cover the cost of remdesivir for the Medicaid patients. We have $10 million going to the nonprofit Hospital Trade Association to distribute grants for temporary hospital staffing assistance. We have 3.5 million going to music and entertainment venues, which have been shut down. Those grants are capped at $40,000. $5 million for implementing a property tax extension, and $2.5 million for $500 grants to teachers in the Great Start Readiness Program, Head Start, special education, and adult education sectors. Personally, I have another 2 bills that will be going to the governor's desk, dealing with support orders for non-custodial parents who become incarcerated. And that's going to make sure that they don't get out of prison with massive rearages in where there was no possibility in child support, when there was no possibility to pay them or even work to have them paid off. I wanted to wish everyone a Merry Christmas. We're getting in the spirit of the season. I was excited with our numbers, and I was disappointed to see that the guidance from the governor said just decreasing trends, because by that valuation, we ought to be open right now for business. But thank you so much, and have a great holiday. I'll take any questions if anyone has one.
Okay, we'll open it up to questions for Dr. Bizon. Hearing none, we will move on. Thank you, Senator,
Thank you.
very much for your report.
Certainly.
We will move on to Representative Jim Hadsma.
Thanks, Dirk. Senator Bizon said just about all of that which we've done in the past 10 days or so. The House finished its work on Monday, the 21st, and ended session. I don't want to prolong this meeting by talking about other stuff that we did in the House context, but I do want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and the best of holidays to you. And thanks for all that you're doing, all the great work that's being done to bring the numbers down here in Calhoun County.
Thank you very much, Representative Hadsma. Appreciate that. Moving on to Representative Hall. Or Representative. Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to county elected officials. If we have any county elected officials that would like to speak. Hearing none, we will move on to tribal elected officials. And hearing none, we'll move on to city elected officials. Hearing none, we will move on to township elected officials. And then finally, village elected officials. Okay, next slide, please. Here's our best information sources, the best ways that you can get further information or more details, things you might not have heard or want to know more about. And next slide, please. And our contact us page, which is our 3 PIO officers. And they're the ones responsible for putting all of this information together, collecting it, and getting it in a point that it's presentable to everyone. And it's a heavy lift for sure. So a big thank you to them for delivering this material, this important material, to all of you. The next live JIC will be on Wednesday, January 6th, 2021. And I would like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year. Please stay safe and stay healthy. And thank you very much.